you're beautiful, like it's not, do you know what I mean? It's, like I'm just me and you're you. I'm okay, but it always does. I'm quite made of stone, and it does chip away sometimes. Actually, not many guys in this villa go for me, which for some reason I'm just like.
Hey guys, it's Murad Murali. Hopefully you guys are doing well today, and hopefully you guys are having a great productive week. Now, before we get into this particular video that I wanted to do for quite a while, and which I think is most definitely needed, be sure to follow me on my Instagram, Murad_Murali, and definitely subscribe to my channel. Click that button, subscribe for consistent daily content. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Now, I think I speak for all when I said that we all watched Love Island, especially the last season, and I did touch on this particular, if you have been subscribed to my channel, I did touch on this particular topic before in terms of Samira, but I feel like an in-depth, small mini documentary is most definitely needed. Now, we all know her having this infectious, bubbly personality, and her perseverance is what kept her going on throughout this entire competition, where she obviously found it very hard to find a particular person who found interest in her, and that, to an extent, week by week, took a mental toll on her. And as us viewers watching, a lot of us most definitely felt sorry for her, wanted her to leave the competition, thought she wouldn't find anyone, and thought she wouldn't win the competition either. And there are many reasons. So the question that is poised today for us is, why did Samira struggle quite a bit in the Love Island competition? Not just from the perspective of trying to find somebody, but from the producer's perspective, from the audience perspective, every single pathway she struggled to gain a form of a positive, sympathetic narrative as opposed to her other counterparts. And what are the core crux reasons for why this has been going on throughout reality TV shows, and especially Love Island, and especially last season? So I think the main form of the point was she eventually just broke down. She began crying to Megan, and she was saying, well, you know, you are you, and the way you look like as opposed to the way I am. Now, I don't think she was directly referring to colorism or directly referring to Eurocentric forms of beauty, which I feel like are main two pinnacle issues and points to this particular video. But I feel like that is definitely how everybody else took it. More importantly, I think it was an important scene to see. For those who don't know, the definition of colorism is prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group, but can also happen with different ethnic and racial groups as well. Being that Samira was the darkest girl in that particular competition, she was obviously the least person to represent any form of Eurocentric form of beauty, which is most definitely conditioned to be praised, whereas Afrocentric is completely not. So therefore, this was a direct emblematic representation of why Samira struggled from the get-go. She found it difficult to find a partner, you know, the first couple of weeks, and we kind of felt sorry for her, and there was this form of dramatic irony, knowing that we kind of knew why this was happening, but she was just still being that bubbly, infectious person. The perseverance was still going on. She did not let any of that get to her. And you know, I feel like these are particular persistent issues that we see for people of color, especially black people within societies or groups or dating worlds, you know, monopolized by white individuals and white counterparts. And I feel like Love Island is a direct example of this. And the reason why I wanted to really get into it is because first and foremost, it wasn't just Samira, Alex was also struggling as well. Now, Alex was struggling, but for some reason, everybody was rooting for Alex to find love. He was poised to have the sympathy narrative, and Samira was simply forgotten about, as if she wasn't even there, as if she became team furniture. She was made to be seen as a shoulder to cry on only. She was not given this narrative that Alex was given, either by producers or the viewers. And obviously the viewers' narratives develop from what the producers show you. And it was very interesting how she was ignored, put to the side. She wasn't seen as a main person for, we need to find her somebody, we need to find her somebody, we feel sorry for her. She hasn't found anyone. That was just given to Alex completely, and she was marginalized and put to a side. And I felt that was very unjust and very unfair. It's clear that Samira was given the tokenism person of color edit. For example, in one of the episodes, Samira aired her concerns over whether Ellie's interest in Alex was genuine, because obviously she cares for Alex. She was immediately criticized by Josh, who told her to let Alex have his time, have his experiences, and for him to go forward with whatever experiences he may have, if they're positive and he can find somebody. But what about Samira? Again, ignored, as if she should be entitled to find somebody as well. Whether or not Samira was looking out for Alex or trying to safeguard her place on the island, why does anyone expect her to sacrifice her summer of love for some guy she barely knows? Why does anyone expect her to sacrifice her summer of love? Why wasn't that put to a point to think, maybe she's doing it for her position because she rightly entitled and deserves that summer of love. That wasn't even placed as a thought point. And these are obviously the layers of bricks that occur with forms of colorism, with forms of racism. These are passive manners where people don't even think about the basic rights that people deserve based on how they look. It's very ingrained, it's very deep, it's very subconscious, and of course, it all subconsciously adapts to forms of white supremacy and Eurocentric forms of beauty. This was obviously furthered by Love Island obviously putting up videos saying that Samira kicks off out of nowhere. This was the title of the video, where in actuality, if you watch the video, she doesn't even kick off at all. But clearly, she was played as somebody to have this black girl aggressive stereotype, and we can tell that the producers were kind of frustrated because she simply was not giving in that stereotype that people unfortunately thought of. And to have these titles of videos obviously garners views, garners attention, and that's what they were attempting to do. Samira herself has actually brushed off claims that because of her race, she was treated differently despite unanimous amount of unfair treatment seen by fans. And for what I'm concerned, not that I'm being biased, but Samira, I feel like, was definitely one of the best looking girls in that villa, period. And you know, this was obviously continued. Her relationship with now cheating Frankie was edited out completely, making her look deranged, making her look confused when she was seen to be crying and upset when he was obviously taken out the villa. And everybody was confused. Why are you going for somebody who doesn't like you? Why are you going for somebody who's left? Clearly there's nothing there, but we didn't know that something was there because the producers had actually cut out a lot of the scenes where she was obviously present and having a positive experience, positive affirmation with this particular now cheating scoundrel called Frankie. So again, why are the producers cutting that stuff out? There seems to be this particular agenda, but they want to cut all this out of her positive experiences, but they're so quick to show where she's crying with Megan, talking about how she can't find anyone because of the way she looks, the way Megan looks, and so forth. And that was very quick to be put on particular screens, whereas when it came to her any positive experiences, that was shoved down and put to a corner. So again, you know, this was a lot of unjustness that was going on with Samira, from first and foremost her being the tokenism, her being this tokenism edit, her being forced to have this stereotype, her being marginalized and ignored, whereas Alex was praised and given this sympathetic narrative. A lot of the cast members were just saying, you know, let Alex have his time, as if Samira is not entitled to have her time as well. The colorism, the Eurocentric forms of beauty tailored to white supremacy, and which was passively seen throughout this entire competition. They obviously, you know, brush her off when it comes to her potentially finding someone at the end, and then when she's crying and upset about stuff, that's happily shown. So we can definitely tell there's a lot of unjustness, and this has definitely continued and seems to be a theme when it comes to Love Island, because we had this with Montana last year. Although she's a bit lighter than Samira and therefore more privileged to an extent, because that is a notion of colorism, there is obviously a particular experience that where she struggled quite a bit until she met someone. But at the same time, all I'm saying is we should be privy to these situations and really analyze them to in-depth scenarios, because really and truly, not only do they transition for a lot of people in real world life dating, but to see it on dating shows can be very, very irritating as well. Samira has definitely struggled on that show, and I do feel like it's because of forms of colorism, because she is a darker girl, and unfortunately everybody else on that show and many viewers were unable to see it and just said that, you know, people don't like her. But there are also reasons for why this is. Get to the crux, get to the core, get to the underlying subconscious thoughts, because these are very, very important and vital. And I feel like awareness helps to bring some form of a change as the baby steps, you could say so. So, you know, I feel like these are important reasons for why I feel like I needed to do a documentary on this particular situation when it comes to Samira and her struggle in the Love Island competition. So this is perhaps why, and probably indefinitely as to why she did struggle in this particular competition, because of Eurocentric forms of beauty, because of adapting subconsciously or consciously to white supremacy, because of colorism, and all these, you know, were the four founding bricklayers for producers to cast her as a, you know, angry black girl stereotype, for everybody to just push her to a side, for, you know, the producers themselves to cut out her scenes, but will happily show her, you know, crying. And even some of the girls would be quite rude to her, quite passively, tell her to shut up and XYZ, and she normally would just take it and just go one in ear, out the other. But a lot of the viewers who are watching could see that sometimes the girls themselves even would treat her a tad bit differently. Not every single girl in there, but some most definitely would. And again, it's very interesting, for sure, because there was also a story going around that apparently Georgia was being quite rude to Samira, talking about her hair and different manners, being a quite brash and a harsh manner. And this in itself is a direct example of what I'm trying to say, where you have these situations going on. That wasn't really brought to light, obviously, because the producers don't want to face a form of backlash. But again, that is an example of some of the girls not really warming to her. Even Georgia, even Samira said herself that she found it a bit weird here and there. There were reports going on here and there. Now, I don't think these two are beefing or not talking to each other. They were happy at the Christmas reunion, but at the same time, we do need to question this stuff and just hope that this doesn't occur for someone like Samira in the future seasons of Love Island. Hopefully they are aware of that, because really and truly, the Love Island, you know, it's not really a direct representation of the UK at all, and I feel like they are getting bad, and the viewership is definitely going down. Do let me know what you guys think about this particular video, and do let me know if you guys agree or disagree. What are your points? What are your comments? Comment down below. I would massively appreciate it, and definitely subscribe to my channel. Click that button. It's just one click, makes a big difference. Watch consistent daily content. Tap my name on Instagram, Murad_Morali. Follow me. I would appreciate it too. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment down below, and I'll catch you guys soon on another video.